everyone, and welcome to I Guess Anything live stream. And I'm here with Dominion,
Hello.
T-Jard,
Hello.
and Nuke.
Hello.
And I'm Chip. So, I don't know. What you guys been up to today?
Nothing.
Same. I've been doing dishes. Or at least trying to. They got out of hand. And it was bad.
There was a farmer's market today, but I didn't go to it.
I went to it.
Was it fun?
It was alright. I got jelly.
Ooh, what kind of jelly?
I think it's apple butter jelly.
That sounds good, actually. What did you do, Dominion?
Play games. Well, did I play a game? Yeah, I played a little bit.
Yeah, you played what was it? Phantom Star?
Fantasy Star.
Yeah, Fantasy Star. Yeah. Speaking of games, we are kind of currently watching T-Jard and his Kenshi stuff.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it takes a year for me to load my base, apparently.
All right. Well, I think I'll do that. Just let us know when you're back up.
Okay.
But yeah. So, any topics we got today?
Got a lot of topics.
So, where do you want to start?
Who's in charge of the topics?
I think Dominion had the articles.
I do have some articles. I'm just trying to figure out which tab we're on. Hefty here. We could start with Nintendo, like always.
Nintendo.
Did we talk about
Boop.
Nintendo last week?
Like a short.
I think it was just a short little while, just kind of basically on
Okay.
what, with the Switch 2 and how that whole fiasco is going down. And now it seems like they're doing The Legend of Zelda. Doing it bad.
That's not that they're doing it bad. It's just, they're wanting to
I could.
sell you a 8-year-old game for $90.
Who they think they are, Bethesda?
Yeah. Only Bethesda can get away with selling stuff that's old.
Yep. So it's Nintendo's.
I mean, it doesn't really surprise me. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to read the title of the article.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh.
Oh, okay. Nintendo Slim for $90 Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild re-release priced on Switch 2. 8-year-old base game will cost $70 with no DLC included. Oh. You want me to continue?
If you want to, I mean.
Yeah, Nintendo is facing a wave of backlash after confirming that The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild Nintendo Switch 2 edition will not include the game's post-launch DLC, despite carrying a $70 price tag for an 8-year-old game. Players who want the full experience of the 2017 classic on the upcoming Switch 2 console will need to fork over another $20 for the expansion pass, bringing it a total cost of $90. That's dumb.
It's a good thing I'm too poor to buy this anyway.
I know.
Well, Nintendo already pretty much came out and said that. It was like, hey, if you can't afford the Switch 2, there's always the first Switch. Just keep playing the first Switch.
Give us more money.
I can't tell if this is going to be a good market choice or not. My intuition says that it's going to be a terrible market choice.
Well,
But
my thing is,
I also think that grandmas.
go ahead.
I also think grandmas will buy the Twitch regardless.
Twitch.
So like
Switch.
grandmas, or Twitch. Yeah, sorry, Switch. I think that they'll buy it regardless of whatever it costs. I think that they'll buy it for their children. I think that most of the people, like according to their player base, most of the people that play Nintendo are in the like 9 to 12 category, like age range.
Hmm.
They're not making very many market purchases.
Yeah. What was the cost of the original Switch when it launched?
3 something, like 300.
So they just went up 100, and then probably a few more dollars here and there. I don't know. I mean, I play some games on the Switch, but I don't often play it as much as I should. But I don't know.
Well, it's like 2 or 3 games that's really good on the Switch, but other than that, I can't think of anything that. Zelda's probably one of the things that really pulls people in to buy. And that's probably why they're doing this. They're like, "Hey, look, we got Zelda, and it's better than before. Please pay us $90." But
Well, the only better than before is the graphics are slightly better, like slightly better. It's not worth the $10 extra for the game when you already have it, everything that you have on the normal Switch.
yeah. Also, I think the graphical style really doesn't lend like any credence to why you should buy it, because it's like, oh, even if it's 1080p, why would you buy like, I don't know, a graphically upgraded Among Us? There's only so much, like, so clear you can get Among Us.
Yeah.
Sus. Oh wow, cool city.
Yeah, I put a lot of work into it.
It's the Mushroom
I
Kingdom.
got all the I got all the like lower district down here. But yeah, I was just wanting to show it off.
Nice. It is a bit laggy, but
It's really
Yeah, it's
laggy.
pretty choppy. Wouldn't
So
even
you
call it
probably
laggy,
have,
it's
like-
choppy at
Yeah.
this point.
Yeah, but it's got a nice choke point. I just wanted to show that off to you.
nice.
I'll go ahead and end it now, so just in case. Especially since it's so choppy.
Yeah. So. Well.
But yeah, I don't think that. I don't know. I wonder if the market really is shifting. In terms, a lot of people aren't buying games in the same way they did 10 years ago.
Not when you got
I kind of,
Steam.
yeah, I kind of think that this might also be the last hurrah for big companies, because, you know, with how easy it is, it's getting easier and easier to make games with AI, and there's going to be more and more indie companies coming out.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people are talking about, like the AA and indie developers are going to start taking over more because they're willing to give the people what they want.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like the companies. Go ahead.
Unlike these suits and ties that just want to tell lies
Yeah. Well,
and make money.
I think that's the only thing that a lot of people forget, that most of these games, the gaming companies, their job is to charge you the maximum amount, not just to make profit, but make stupid amounts of profit.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, they also might be reacting to Ubisoft, because Ubisoft came out with hit after hit, and they were making tons of money, and then, you know, their streak kind of ended, and now they're looking at kind of a tailspin, company
Well,
wise.
there's no way that anybody on this planet can convince me that Mario Kart is worth $80.
No, by the way, my position is a little like off from this. I'm fine with certain games being $80 if it's an $80 game. Mario Kart's not an $80 game. I'm uh I'm okay with some games going up and some games going down, but uh, you know, you
I
essentially
would be
already have.
fine with a game being $80 if they told me that I owned it. It's a big golden physical box that I get with books and strategy guides and action figure and all that stuff. Yeah, that would be worth the $80 to $100. But you're just giving me a digital download that
Yeah.
I can
Well, I mean,
sit there and race around with cute little Nintendo characters from point A to point B for just a few minutes before I'm bored of it.
yeah, but I mean,
Yeah.
we already have like $100 games though, or even higher, $120, $150 games.
Like, I can see if they expanded on to the Mario Kart world, because it's supposed to be open world, but it's just you race from track to track. Or you go from track to track, kind of like how was it Forza
Yeah, Forza,
Horizon?
Horizon, that is like an open world thing.
If they could just like expand like little side quests or something that would give the world more fleshed out, which I don't know, it could possibly have something in there. But from what they were saying, it's just you go from track to track, like Forza Horizon.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of my position is that it might be worth $90 if it was, you know, Mario Kart GTA edition or something that added a whole bunch of interesting things. But if I mean, we already have like stupidly expensive games like Conan Exiles. It's $39.99 regular, but that's not the actual price. If you actually want to play the game, the real game with all the stuff, it's actually $150.
Yeah,
I mean,
but that's with all
uh,
the expansion packs and everything.
yeah, with all the expansion packs, but the expansion packs are just like tiny little things that let you, kind of cheese the system a little.
Well, it's kind of the same thing with
So
Sims 4 or the Sims games
yeah,
with their expansion packs, stuff packs, um, you know, things like that.
that's with a 10% discount, $150. But I mean, I agree. Sims 4 is kind of the same way.
Yeah, the game's free,
Yeah.
but if you want to play stuff, and that's just some of the bundles.
Well, that's not bad. That's just okay. That's not all the
No, there's
bundles.
more
It's
bundles
just
than
some.
that. That's just a
There's way
handful.
more
Oh,
bundles
okay.
than that.
Yeah, I was thinking that a lot of people say that Sims is. Never mind.
Yeah, those are all the.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, I see now. Yeah, that's a lot more than I thought. That's a. I wonder how much the complete. They don't even have the complete 95. 95.
Well, some of them do have packs. Every time you see the $39.99, that's a pack, I think.
Oh, okay. That's the actual price of the game. $1,429.06.
Yep.
So yeah, we already have
And they can easily
outrageously
pull
expensive.
the sports games and just be like Sims 5, and now we're going to start over with adding little kits and packages and expansion packs, you know?
Yeah.
And people will buy it just like
Whoa.
everybody's going to
This
buy
is,
the Nintendo Switch.
if this was any other game, this would be a mod.
Well, also
Yeah.
that's why people are kind of looking at Enzoy. It's like The Sims, but
Asian.
yeah. But Korean.
Yeah.
Oh, they got a cat. Look.
Yep.
Actually, that's
If you
pretty
can pet the
awesome
cat,
in the way
that's
that
a sold game. That's how people buy
yeah.
games now, is if they can pet the cat, not how much they can play the game.
Yeah, I think it just.
Actually, this looks way better than Sims.
Yeah. But I think they just came out with early access for it, so.
Okay, so eventually it'll be $1,000 as well.
Just depending on how they want to do their market.
Well, it definitely looks. It looks like
Oh, I saw something about AI generation.
where
Said like AI generated something. Yeah, there it is. AI generated content
is it?
disclosure.
Oh, okay, yeah. So there you go. That's another game that's gonna come out that's gonna be using AI to make its product cheaper. But
I think he was talking about textures and stuff like that.
oh yeah, that's still some. I mean, you can. AI isn't going to make. Well, AI is not going to make the entire game for you. Although it could do a lot of heavy lifting, it's really just going to. I think it's going to hurt uh, lower and mid-level jobs like lower coders and mid-level coders and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Concept artist. I don't think it'll eliminate all jobs, but it'll probably eliminate maybe just those lower level concept artists that you're like, oh, I want a monster and I want it to look like this, and then you'll wait for a week for them to make you a monster. Instead, they'll of having 5 artists, you'll have a dude that just prompts Chat GPT constantly until they get the monster you're looking
Yeah.
for, and he'll generate like 20 of those, and be like, okay, which one's the closest? And then you'll hand it off to the main artist.
Yeah, they say the character creation's very detailed in this game.
I had no idea that Sims was $1,000 game.
Yeah, with everything.
Do they not have Star Citizen on
Steam?
on
No.
Steam?
It's you got to go to the
Okay.
actual website.
I was going to see because that's supposed to be the most egregious, like the most expensive game if you buy everything.
Yeah.
But no, I think a lot of people have that wrong. That it's like, oh, games are getting more expensive. No, they've always been expensive for the last 10 years. They're
They ain't really been
ridiculously
expensive
expensive.
because you got to factor in living. Back in the 90s and 2000s,
but
I had money to spend spend on the side to
yeah,
buy this stuff. And even back then, I still didn't
but
buy full price games.
I mean, a lot of games introduce problems and then sell you the solution. Though.
Yeah, well, that's Ubisoft's #1 rule.
Yeah, I mean, I think to some extent all games do that. I'm a big fan of Warframe, but even Warframe does that. I think their monetization system is really good, but they make the game overly grindy, so you'll just go ahead and buy the downloadable content. Now, I will say that their downloadable content at least is decently priced compared to the other competitors. Um, like for instance, I think having a whole new Warframe in Warframe is better than buying some stupid skin on Call of Duty that cost about the same price. But it's at least you have some substance there. But it's all the same.
Yeah. Well, you got to factor in
it's still
Warframe's free to play.
Yeah, it is free to play. You are right about that, and that's why I give Warframe a lot of credit because they're doing it in a free to play model, and Call of Duty, you've already paid full price for the game. Why are you trying to sell me a $2 bandana?
I mean, yeah, there's
or whatever.
the Warzone that's Call of Duty's version of free, but it's all it is a battle royale.
Yeah.
You're not getting the other modes where Warframe is actually giving you story, even though it's a very complicated and weird story. But they're still giving you a story.
That's true. Their story is crazy.
Yeah. How many other games
Don't ask me what's going
gives
on.
you a story in their free-to-play game?
And look, I think Warframe is a good example. As long as you make somebody feel something, even if that something is confusion, it's worth playing. Most of the time, I'm playing Warframe, especially the first time I go through quests and I haven't thought about it. I'm just like, what is happening? What is this dude coming out of the void? This giant, and he's speaking Cthulhu language. I don't understand anything that's happening.
Yeah. I played Warframe in a year now since we.
It's been a while.
We usually pop in once a year for a little while.
I played it a few months ago. The stalker had a baby.
But
yeah, the stalker had a baby apparently.
What?
I'm gonna say the stalker baby.
That's what I got out of it. Is the stalker had a baby, and like I don't know. I was playing Warframe, and there's a stalker mission where you play as the stalker, and he's got another Warframe on his ship, and the Warframe is not doing great. At the end of it, the Warframe, like its stomach crumbles away, and there's a baby inside. And the stalker's like, "Oh, I got a green Warframe baby," and then I'm just like, "Did the stalker? What happened here? Is this the stalker? Like, did she get pregnant before before she was a Warframe, or as a Warframe, or what is happening?"
Is Warframe baby mode?
Yeah, this Warframe baby mode. Can I use the baby as a weapon? Does it have Warframe?
They should let you be a baby and
Warframe
crawl
power?
into vents.
Yeah,
They
totally.
probably will eventually. They got to figure
By
out
the
how
way,
to.
I'm like 3 quests
They got to
behind.
figure out how to sell you something else that's kind of useless that you'll never touch again after you play it once.
Yeah.
Like that Gundam thing.
The Necromech.
Yeah, the Necromech.
I like the Necromech okay.
It is.
I
It's
just don't like.
yeah, it's okay, but I mean, they don't bring another use out for it any after it's over with. After they do a story.
Yeah, that's the thing I hate about Warframe is that okay, I got this really cool ship. I think the Railjack is really neat. I'm probably one of like 10 people who actually like Railjack
Well, I
missions.
guess I
I
guess
just
I'm the
really
second
like.
of the 10.
Yeah, but I love Railjack missions, and every time I go to play Warframe, nobody's doing Railjack.
That's because it's old
That's
content,
probably
man. Nobody uses it anymore.
well, even whenever it was fairly new content, it was hot for like a month or two, and then everybody went back to doing
Far as far
what
as
they were
trying to
supposed
use the
to.
material to build it.
Yeah, they just wanted the Railjack, and that was it. And I love the Railjack, but the Railjack is its own isolated thing. There's nothing else to the Railjack. You can't get other things off of Railjack. Um, like you can't use the Railjack in any other missions. There's no purpose to the Railjack except for Railjack missions. So it really doesn't connect anything else together.
Yeah.
It's everything is disjointed, and they have a uh, whatever that new expansion where they introduce a whole new land. There's nothing with Necromech, Railjack, Arcwing, even your regular Warframes. It's just a separate game. It might as well be, hey, we wanted to practice making an expansion for our upcoming game, Soulframe. So we made a Soulframe Lite in Warframe. I'm just like, I don't care about this. This doesn't connect to anything. That's the only real complaint I have about Warframe.
Yeah.
I do like that they continuously update it, and it's been, a living game for the last 15 years.
I don't know when Warframe came out.
I don't know. I was probably like
Probably
20,
the same time that GTA and
25 at the time.
Skyrim came out.
Yeah, I was probably like 25 at the time, and I looked it up. And I saw it, and I was like, "This sounds like a stupid game." Space Ninjas. To me, it
Hey.
just sounded like.
Speaking of stupid games.
It came out in 2013.
Can you
So
share
yeah,
my thing?
Hey.
Speaking of stupid games.
whoa! It's The Last of Us.
It's little Ellie.
I like this opinion. Naughty Dog's greatest trick was selling you the same game 5 times. How many times is Bethesda and GTA up to on selling you the same game?
I think GTA is up 2 or 3 times, but Skyrim
It's
has re-released
two or three times, right?
probably. Skyrim's probably like up to 5 if I'm
So Naughty
remembering
Dog
correctly.
and Bethesda's at the same level of selling you the same.
Has anyone here seen the Last of Us TV show?
No, I refuse to
No.
watch that.
Have
It
you?
looked. I have not. I've seen people say. I've seen people. A lot of people complain about it.
Skyrim has officially released 15 times on 10 different consoles.
Let's make it 16.
Yeah, I'm kind of getting tired of this whole we sell you a game and then in a year or two we turn around and sell you that same game again.
Bought it again award.
I kind of wish that a lot of people would take, take a lesson from Warframe, because Skyrim was like Warframe. They would have never re-released it. You would have just bought the game, and then they would have kept throwing content at you constantly. And I wish that Skyrim was kind of like that. They would just constantly update the content.
That's what Elder Scrolls 6 should do, to be honest.
Yeah,
Elder Scrolls 6 should be like the last Elder Scrolls, and you just start in one continent, and then as years go by, all Bethesda has to do is open up more continents for you to play.
yeah.
More gear, more
Which I'm
weapons, more random stories.
one of those people that thinks that it's not going. They don't have what it takes to make a new Elder Scrolls. Just judging by their last releases, you know.
Well, what do you think about the new Elder Scrolls that they announced?
What do you mean?
Wait, what?
Elder Scrolls 6?
Yeah, Elder
Or?
Scrolls 6.
Oh, I just don't think it's going to be any good.
Yeah.
I think they don't know how to make a new game. I think that they forgot what was good about Bethesda games in general. I think a lot of people who play Bethesda games don't even understand what's good about them.
Yeah.
I watched somebody review Oblivion the other day, and he was like, "Oh, the game sucks because I played the main story, and the main story sucks." I'm like, the main story is not bad, but that's not why you play Oblivion. You play Oblivion for the Thieves Guild or the Dark Brotherhood or any of the other stuff. Their side content is perfect in Oblivion. But no, that they're just like, nah, I tried the main quest, and everybody said that Oblivion was better than Skyrim, and I think that Oblivion is terrible because that's all I played was the main quest.
Yeah, they only played 2% of the game.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, it would be nice if games come out with more content, as you know, instead of really re-releasing the same game over and over again, like Skyrim does. If they just add expansions.
Yeah.
Nah, that would mean they'd have to be creative.
That is true. I mean, if I was a businessman and I could sell you the same, like, if I could sell you the same thing over and over again without putting any effort, then that's probably what I would do.
Yeah. Well, that's what everybody's doing nowadays.
Yeah.
That's why when Steam did their thing, like 90% of players is playing 10-year-old games.
That doesn't surprise me. I mean,
Like, there's like a few games from my childhood that I know are on Steam, and I'm very tempted on getting them again.
Well, that's because Steam is like, hey, you want to buy this game for $30? No? Okay, hold on. A few days go by. Would you buy it for $15? No? Okay, hold on. A few more days go by. Would you buy it for $5? And then it's like, yeah, I'll definitely buy it for $5.
Yep. Especially.
I can't believe I was looking at the top played games right now. Rust is still in the top 10.
I couldn't get into Rust.
I got into Rust and I wasn't happy with myself.
Yeah.
Nook should play Rust.
Oh gosh. Tell us some of your stories.
And stream it.
Maybe.
On Rust?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, one time I had a neighbor come move in beside me, and he was trying to raid me. And so I waited till they logged off, and I picked into their house. And I knew if I raided them, it wasn't going to do any good because, you know, if you raid somebody, it'll just make them try to raid you harder. So I picked into their house and took all their good stuff and put it on one dude and wrote down his name and then walled up their house again. This is back during the update where you could, if you had building access, you could just rebuild back.
Mm-hmm.
And then, after a while, they like found their stuff on that dude, and I waited a couple more days. Then I picked into the house and took all their good stuff, and then put a shed outside. I put a key and moved all their loot out there, and then put the key on the dude. And then I waited again, and those guys got in a like real life fight. I think I destroyed a real life friendship because everybody was convinced that that dude had been stealing their stuff
Okay.
and that he was.
Oh no.
They found the key on that guy's body, and they were like, "What is this?"
Mhm.
but yeah, I kept taking their stuff and moving it around, and every now and then I just skim off the top a little bit, not enough that they'd notice, but I kept blowing into their house and just moving stuff around and then repairing it. But yeah, they eventually logged off and didn't log back on.
Yeah. People are
Yeah,
crazy on Rust.
yeah, that was pretty mean. That was like next level psychological games I was playing.
That's the reason you play Rust, I think, is to mess with people.
Yeah, one time I was playing Rust and there was a guy outside my door, and he was like, "Hey, what's up?" And then my girlfriend at the time was said something, and then he was like, "Oh, you got a bitch in there? I'm gonna come in there and SA her."
Oh no.
And I was like, "What?" And he was like, "I'm coming in." I'm like, "You're not coming in here." And he was like, I'm gonna kill you whenever I get in there. And I got a grenade and I'm gonna blow your door off." And I was like, "I've got a shotgun in here." He's like,
A
"Oh, you're
gentleman
bluffing."
always
I'm like, "I'm gonna
announces
come."
before he enters.
Yeah. And I was like, "I've got a shotgun and I'll blow you away." He was like, "No, you won't. You're lying. There's no shotgun in there." And I was like, "I'm coming outside right now to kill you." He was like, "Oh, bullshit." And then I started opening doors and coming down. He was like, "All right, I believe you. I'm out of here." But there's like Rust used to, especially really early into Rust, it wasn't a competitive game. It attracted a whole bunch of psychopaths in order to like live out their fantasies of murdering and killing people.
Yeah, that sounds like Rust.
It was Yeah, it was a beautiful game back then. There was the weirdest people on Rust back then whenever it
What are you
first
talking about?
started.
There's still weird people in
Especially,
Rust now.
oh yeah, there's definitely weird people in Rust now, but I remember the guy who created it, I think is Gary. His name's Gary,
I
right?
don't know.
Yeah, he is. He's the creator of Gary's
Yeah.
Mod.
Yeah. So he was people were sending him pictures of recreations of stuff that he found on like that you have on the game. People would make torches and they would make fake, you know, pistols and stuff that looked similar to the game, and he was talking about it. He was like, "What I dread every night that I go to sleep, that I'm going to wake up and there's going to be a picture of somebody that bashed another man's head in with a rock that looks like rust because you guys are psychopaths." I thought that was hilarious because his community was terrible for a long time. But that's okay, right? You can have a terrible community. That's what he was trying to foster, was a terrible community.
Yeah, I mean, unlike other places that's trying to get rid of the terrible communities, you know.
Yeah.
Uh-oh, somebody's getting a phone call.
Mm.
He left us.
Yep. So,
Nook, what kind of games are you going to be playing soon?
I don't know. I hadn't really thought about it. I'm gonna be playing. I did that game to my Steam wish list recently. I think it's called Metal Sky or something.
I'm going to look.
No, it's called Metal Garden.
well, I modded Stardew Valley for the first time ever.
Metal Garden?
Yeah. You're like stuck inside of a giant Dyson sphere or something like that.
Dyson sphere.
I love Dyson sphere.
Is it a real Dyson sphere, or is it like
The game keeps it kind of
like just a big?
ambiguous. Like you just look up into the sky and the sky's made of metal. Like there's an atmosphere and there's clouds and everything like that, but you just look up and there's like a giant sky. You're stuck
Oh,
inside of a
okay.
metal sky. And the object of the game is to escape from this metal garden.
Oh, that's
I
interesting.
came across it on my YouTube. I occasionally come across weird
Here you go.
indie games.
Is it this one?
Yeah, that's the one.
Hey.
Is that a pirate?
They've got these enemies with tricorn hats.
Yeah. Yeah, you can see the ceiling.
The gunplay kind of looks like so, but as long as it's got an interesting story,
Yeah, the gunplay is kind of weird, but
it's got a nice atmosphere.
Yeah, I kind of miss when developers use the dark colors. All of them use bright colors now.
it's
Yeah.
really interesting looking game. I think it's also made in Source 1, like the original Source engine.
Sorry if you can hear the dog getting water.
Doggy.
He is a very messy drinker.
Speaking of messes.
I like your segues.
Yeah.
Oh, I wanted to add something to the Nintendo thing.
Okay.
Nintendo can't use an excuse on the tariffs now.
Yeah, they admit it. He's like, yeah, no, we were gonna do that anyway.
Yeah, they said the tariffs had
Yeah.
nothing to do with the price that they was pricing it. They just thought it was worth that, and it's like, come on. They need to charge they need to charge more because there's so many people that's okay with the price that it's at, that it's like, okay, let's they should charge it another $100 more.
I wonder if their decision has something to do with Nintendo constantly being on the verge of bankruptcy.
Yeah, I don't understand how they're always at the verge of bankruptcy, but that's been the case since the 90s.
Do y'all remember when one of the Ubisoft people said this?
Yeah, I remember that.
And now Ubisoft's laying off employees.
That and they're in a lawsuit right now over this.
Which there is something, I don't know, that like I think that the legality needs to be a whole lot more clear whenever you're buying a video game, because whenever you're playing an MMO, you don't you technically don't own the game. I mean, you own the game, but you have to
Pay monthly.
play it in a certain type. Yeah, you have to play it in a certain type of way. Like it, you can't edit your own game and then play it the way you want it. You have to have it the way that they design in order to have access to the online server. And you can't play the game by yourself. They won't let you. So really, in cases of MMO, you kind of don't own the game. But single player games, I have no idea why you wouldn't just own the damn game and you could do whatever you want with it.
Yeah. No, game developers are going to keep stretching all this stuff more and more. They want you to basically they want to get to where it's like if you walked into a restaurant and the restaurant sold you napkins, you know, would you still go to that restaurant?
No, I mean, I might if they had just out of this world
Yeah.
food, but
But no, that's just how video games are getting. They want to sell you everything has to make money.
yeah, that is really egregious. That probably the most egregious thing that the Nintendo thing was. Like the most egregious thing that Nintendo's doing is selling you the tutorial.
Yeah.
That's probably
Yeah.
the most obvious, like blatant example of greed that you can give.
Yeah, the Reggie, the previous CEO of Nintendo or whatever, even came out and was like, "That's stupid." They
I
was like,
agree.
or he was like, "Yeah, when I was over it and we came out with the Wii, we put the Wii Sports with the Wii so that you could learn how to play how the Wii works and stuff, and it didn't charge any extra."
Yeah, this is my. I think the problem with all of these game companies is that they don't own their actual games. Like nobody actually owns the companies that have these games, and it's just all corporations that actually don't give a shit about what they do. Like that's all they care about is making money.
Yeah, I mean, I understand companies got to make money somehow, but
Yeah, yeah. Obviously you don't get into game developing. You don't do anything unless money is
yeah,
involved, right? But this isn't. It's like, hey, I'm making money at what I love to do. No, this is like, oh, I love making money, and I found some suckers to
yeah,
scam. That's that's the real difference is that there's like they don't actually care about the product
yeah. I mean,
that they're producing.
and the suckers is Nintendo fanboys or girls.
We're all the suckers.
I don't know what you're talking about. When's the last time you bought a full price
I
game?
spent I am a sucker. I have been a sucker. I spent $100 on the Elder Scrolls Online. That is the stupidest thing I probably did in gaming. I mean,
When was
and
that?
then that
2
was
years
like
ago?
3 years
2?
ago. Yeah, probably 2 years ago I did that, and and then I didn't even spend any of the money because I was waiting for the expansions to go on sale.
Yeah.
but but still, it's I mean, Elder Scrolls Online isn't $100 game, so I really did get suckered out of money whenever it came to Elder Scrolls Online.
But when's the last time you bought a full price game?
Uh, Bannerlord, I paid full price for. I've also paid full price for um, Crusader Kings 3. Um, yeah, I haven't been buying a lot of full price games.
Yeah,
I used to buy a lot more. Like the day that Halo came out, I'd buy it.
that was 10
Or
years ago.
yeah, but I used to regularly buy full price games. I don't buy them as much anymore because, well, I actually did. I pay full price for Repo Company? I think I did.
No, I think it was
Or
on sale.
Repo.
Oh, it was on sale.
Oh,
But
yeah.
that's not a
Well,
AAA.
that's not a AAA game. I have bought some indie games that for full
Yeah,
price.
well, they're full price at the time.
Yeah, but the quality is way better than what you'll get with AAA. It's still a game, and I'm still playing full price, but it's an indie game.
Yeah, it's worth the content that you get out of it. You know, it's worth the $10 that it cost. I mean, but yeah, I don't know if Patty wants to read this. Sorry, I just doxed you.
Haha, get doxed.
Whoops. Have to edit that. But yeah, I can. So it says in a newly uncovered court filing, Ubisoft has stated that players never actually owned their copies of The Crew, but instead received a limited license to access the game. The declaration comes as a part of an ongoing Ubisoft game ownership lawsuit filed in California after the company shut down the game's servers in March 2024, making it completely unplayable. The class action lawsuit, originally filed in November 2024, claims that Ubisoft failed to clearly disclose the nature of the transaction, selling a full price product while retaining the rights to revoke access at any time. In February 2025, Ubisoft filed a motion to dismiss the case. Yeah, that stinks.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I mean,
That's okay. If you're going to do that, like especially with the online multiplayer games, which I don't know if The Crew is online multiplayer, is it?
Yeah, it was. It was online only.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, do they have to like spend money to keep the servers up and going?
Yeah, they do. Like EA has to, but the problem's not that. In my opinion, the problem's probably not that the server has to be maintained. It's that nobody can maintain their own server to run the Crew, because I'm sure someone would be willing to put up a server and then run their own private server of the Crew. But
Yeah,
Yeah, so basically they just made their game unplayable, and everyone that had paid full price, it's like they're just screwed out of I don't
yeah.
know how much money it
It's
was.
$60 is what it says down here.
it's kind of like the Red Dead Redemption / GTA roleplay controversy. How Rockstar didn't want them playing on private servers, and they constantly shut down private servers for a long time until they finally got with the program. Really, it was just here recently they got with the program and realized, hey, the GTA online servers are increasing our popularity for the game, and people are, it's keeping us high up on Twitch, and people are enjoying playing it. Why don't we just leave it alone instead of trying to jam everybody into our servers to buy shark cards? Because plenty of people do go into the main servers and buy shark
Oh yeah,
cards just by
they buy
watching.
the shark cards like crazy.
Yeah, it's like I think they're. How much did GTA make? I think it's like $6 billion or $7 billion.
Oh no, it's insane. They could have made 1,500 more GTA games with the money they made.
Wow.
But I think the problem with this is it's like, hey, we paid $60 for this game, and you didn't tell us that it was a limited license. You know, that
Yeah.
we're going
Yeah.
to shut this game down in 10 years. And you can't play it anymore after, you know. But hey, with they came out with the Crew 2 and the Crew Moto Sports or whatever, which is their two newest the Crew games. And guess what they did? They turned around and made it where it's playable offline. But they didn't do it to the first Crew game. They didn't make the first Crew playable offline when they could have.
GTA 5 made $8.6 billion to $13 billion.
Gosh.
And still making money.
Yeah, still making money off of the whales. I'll be back.
Bye-bye. But yeah, that goes to show you, like, I don't think that's going to improve the quality of GTA 6 very much.
Hmm.
Hey, that's pretty funny.
Is it
that,
Rockstar that's saying this?
what?
That they're going to be like doing like you won't be able to truly own GTA 6 in the future.
Oh no!
Oh,
this
no,
is
that's
this is
that.
Ubislop.
Ubisoft.
Yeah, that's Ubisoft. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Ubisoft that said. The only reason I'm bringing up Rockstar is they had a similar controversy where people were trying to do online servers.
Yes.
They didn't want people to do online roleplay servers, so they started shutting them down, sending legal notices to people who were running these servers. Finally, the game modders won out in the end, but
You mean are you
initially,
sure the game modders won out in the end? Because Rockstar bought the game modders.
yeah, that's true. Well, I guess they won out in the end. Probably they probably just bought the, which I think they're probably trying to look forward to the future. They're like, oh, let's forget about GTA 5 for now and try to figure out, get these modders in since they're so crazy popular, get them in to get their ideas to figure out how we can monetize their junk.
This is pretty funny right here. It says that on the physical package of the game, the activation code lists an expiration date of 2099.
Oh,
So it's misleading consumers into believing they were buying a product with a long-term playable stuff, you know. So that
yeah.
I'll be right back.
with the being like that, then that means the Crew falls under the California's gift certification laws, which prohibits expirations. So
Yeah, that's.
so
I think they've got a
yeah,
good
they do
case.
actually. They
Who
do
knows?
because if Ubisoft wanted to think ahead and like make it where it is limited, then they should have put limited on the packaging.
Yeah, that's my opinion. If you were to buy any other product, you can do whatever you want to with it, just as long as you're not redistributing the product,
Yeah.
right? Like if you bought any kind of movie, you can make a movie edit. Nobody cares. Nobody cares if you take Mission Impossible and then edit the entire movie to where it's just Tom Cruise inhaling. Nobody cares about that. You can do that at your helm all you want. But if you take World of Warcraft and then you're like, oh, I'm going to edit World of Warcraft to where I can play it solo and I'm going to make a whole bunch of changes. Just doing that, um, Blizzard will get pissed at you just for editing their games
Yeah.
and playing it by yourself. Or if you wanted to, you know, do the same thing and share it with a small group of friends, there's no problem with that. I don't, or at least I don't see the problem with it. I don't see the problem with people editing World of Warcraft and making their own servers because you've already bought the game.
Yeah.
But nah,
I wish Blizzard would just let people at least do an offline version of the old World of Warcraft.
yeah. I wish that they would. I wish games would set up a section to where you're either a subscription-based game to where you're buying a subscription to a game, or you are buying a game and then you can do whatever you want to it. If you're subscribing to something, you can't, like for instance, it makes sense to me if you buy a subscription to Netflix and then you record all the movies. That's a legally gray area because that's probably like a no, right? Because if you're not buying the movies, you're just buying a subscription to get access to movies temporarily. So it makes sense that it's.
I wouldn't know. I don't use Netflix.
Well, yeah, I'm just using it as an example. Whatever, preview, whatever.
I went back to buying my DVDs, so my collection's growing more again, even more than it used to be.
Yeah, but I wish that legally we could split games into these two sections. Either you're paying for the game outright and it should have an outright price tag, or you're paying for the game via subscription and then you don't have any kind of legal recourse to do whatever you want with the game.
They just need to tell you if you're going to get to keep the game or not. Is basically all they had to do.
Yeah.
That would clear up a lot more confusing on all the issues that they have. It's like, okay, give me $60, but you only get this for so many years.
Well, I mean, I just want the rest of the, that's how the rest of life is. If I buy a bench press set, I have access to do whatever I want with it. So if I wanted to buy a weightlifting set and then spray paint the weights all pink, I can do that. But if I buy a subscription to a gym, I don't own those things, so I can't spray paint them pink. And it just makes sense to me that either it should be in one of two categories.
Why do you want to spray paint them pink?
I don't know, so I can feel pretty while I get my workout on.
Okay. I just thought I'd ask.
But that's the way I wish that games would be categorized like everything else would be.
They
just need to be truthful if they're going to screw you over or not,
Yeah.
That's what I was going to say. They need to be honest with it instead of being all underhanded, because that's how, they get you.
Yeah, Nintendo was being honest. They was like, we want you to pay $450 for an overpriced tablet.
That is true. Everybody's pissed, even though Nintendo's being pretty honest. They're like, hey, we're just trying to make money here. We're obviously, look, the tutorial.
We know what you Nintendo fans want, okay? Other people can't tell you what to do with your money, but us, Nintendo, can tell you what to do with your money. We want you to pay $450 before tariffs.
Yeah.
Okay, is this like... Oh, I don't know how it would be in like Nintendo Japan, because I know this is for Nintendo America.
Oh, Nintendo Japan is selling their consumers a Nintendo Switch 2 for $330.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But Everybody else has to pay $450 or more. Like California, or not California. Basically same thing. Canada is like charged $500 to $600 or something like that. $600 for the consult.
That's crazy.
Australia is probably going to get the worst. It's probably going to be $800 there.
Yeah. I'm surprised the United States isn't the worst, because we have like such a consumer market. And if I was trying to wring all the money I could, I think the American market would be the one that I could get all the money I could out of.
Oh, it's easy to screw over Americans.
Yeah, well, they really generally don't care about.
They don't stand for anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll buy that. I don't care. And then later they're like, "Why did I buy that?" Oh well.
True.
Oh well. I've already bought it. No takebacks.
Yeah, that's pretty much how it goes. I don't know how many times that I've seen somebody lecture down to me about some moral injustice about a thing they really, really care about. They'll be talking about, you know, human rights abuses and this and that while they're typing away on their iPhone. Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah. Or one of their Apple devices.
Yeah.
With their Nike shoes. Or their Air Jordan shoes.
Speaking of Apple, did you hear about the exemptions to China on the tariffs?
Is it these tariffs?
Explain.
There's a bunch of new exemptions to the tariffs to China, and it's all like processors and tech stuff. And I think it's mostly, yeah.
Is it this?
I was saying something about Hollywood.
I know.
Yeah,
but right here,
it's hard for me to see.
It says the new. Hold on.
Yeah, China has officially announced a partial ban on Hollywood films. No, that's not it. This is China's retaliatory.
Can you read that now?
Yeah. This is their retaliatory tariffs. I'm talking about like Trump made exemptions to processors. Welcome back. Trump has made exemptions to processors and like tech stuff. And I think he basically met with a whole bunch of, Apple and all of them. And then a little while later, he's like, "Okay, yeah, we're gonna exempt certain products."
The purpose of the tariffs,
huh?
Like I read about the exemptions on tech that we did with the tariffs. So it's basically like the tariffs aren't accomplishing anything at this point because we're not going to create our own tech industry.
Yeah,
we're not going to reindustrialize if we're just going to.
They ain't gonna
stuff from China.
That's all they have.
I think that's a terrible. Like it's completely awful that we're basically making an exemption for Intel and Apple. That's basically what we're doing.
What are we doing?
The tariffs, the tariff exemptions, we're basically making a exemption for imports that would be important to like Intel and Apple, and it's mostly computer stuff. But if I was going to guess, I think the main reason is it's going to cause the new iPhone to double in price or whatever.
That ain't gonna stop the iPhone users from not.
Yeah, that wouldn't have done anything to iPhone users, and I really don't care if iPhones double. That's not my concern.
I ain't gonna own a iPhone.
Well, even if Android devices doubled or any other devices doubled, I'm like, well, good. Get them to move their factories out of China into Vietnam or anywhere else. I really don't care.
I don't know. Apple's supposed to be an American product. Why don't we get it back in America?
I don't think it's an American product, personally. I don't think was Steve Jobs an American citizen? I know he wasn't born in America, but wasn't he?
I don't know. They kicked him out of his own company.
Yeah, that's true. Well, did they?
Yeah, he got
Yeah,
screwed out of his own company.
I know he did for a little while, but I'm not a big fan of Steve Jobs, anyways.
No.
But I really don't think they ever had a focus on America. I think that um, I think that Apple cares about profits, and they don't really have any. I really don't think Apple cares about America. I think they care about money.
Yeah.
I think they care about the international market more than they care about American markets. And I really don't care if importing from China um, like it causes tech to rise temporarily. If 2 years from now our tech is produced somewhere else, then that's more the benefit for us.
It says Steve Jobs was born in San Francisco.
Oh, was he? I didn't think he was born in America.
No, that San Francisco isn't part of America, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
That's even worse. I would have rather him been foreign. But no, I think that this is bad for Trump. I don't think he's thinking it through.
No, Trump's acting reflexively, as I see it.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be good for us in the long term. But I think it's great that he negotiated an Apple factory in America. That's all great and good and everything. But um, yeah, I just don't. I don't think that this. I think this is now all. The whole tariff thing is just bluster. It's nothing.
Well, he went back on the tariffs because of the bond market.
Yeah, but I was fine whenever we were just tariffing China, and I was like, "Oh, this might be a 5D chess move." But after he backed off on the Chinese tariffs, I was like, "Oh, this is just a bunch of horseshit." He's not actually. he just
So what'd he do? Like, just
I kind of felt like it
we're
was
not
horseshit
we're
to
not
begin
getting the
with.
tariffs on China anymore.
not. Well, we are, but like we're not on anything that's associated with the like electronics and tech industry.
Yeah, like
Anything.
we might tariff like China's textile industry.
Yeah, we might. It's like, oh yeah, spider rings are now going to go from 50 cents to $1. But other than that,
Oh my gosh, that's an expensive spider ring.
yeah, maybe we can get our spider ring industry back in the U.S. Since
Yeah.
we clearly don't care about the most important thing about the economy, which is our tech industry. But
Yeah.
whatever. The world economy runs off of tech, and if we had gotten our tech industry even a little bit back, that would have been great. Or if we could have just moved the tech industry into a country that's not quite as hostile, so we could. I don't know. Maybe we could choose a better alternative, like Venezuela, to create our tech.
I got irritated with Trump in the bond market, in the stock market, and the like, because I saw a video where he was with a number of people in the Oval Office, and
What's this?
he was bragging. He was being like braggadocious
Spider rings.
about like let me watch the video right now. He says like so yeah, he says this is Charles Schwab. He's pointing at one guy. He's like, he made 2.5 million today, or
Oh,
2.5 billion, and then this guy made like 900 million, and they're laughing about it. And one guy says like, "Oh, all in good fun."
oh yeah, because they bought whenever they went low. This is
Yeah, like it's basically insider trading.
yeah, especially since this is probably the most upset I've had with that I've been with Trump in a while. I think if he had stayed true to the Chinese, like to trying to tariff China for tech industry, then I would probably have just said, "Oh, this was a negotiating tool," and made it. He made other people come to the table, and I do think we will get fair trade tariffs to an extent. But now that he's backed off of China, it doesn't look good on his negotiating skills. Where he's like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna make sure that you can that iPhones don't go up." Well, so I really don't want the industry back where we're making spider rings. I really just don't want spider rings to be made in America. I don't care if spider rings are made in America, and I don't think they'd be made here anyways. They'll just move to Vietnam or anything. But tech is something that I would really like to be made in America, or at least assembled here.
Yeah.
You don't want spider rings? Come on, man.
I don't care about the spider ring industry.
Come on. They're the backbones of America.
Yeah, I've had that joke for years that we live in the spider ring economy.
No, we live in a different universe now. We don't the 90s and 2000s was a completely different universe.
Yeah, pretty much.
We're in clown world now.
Yeah. Really, 90s was like the last breath of us having industry.
Yeah. And everybody got along.
Yeah.
Now everybody
Yeah. I mean,
hates each
there
other.
there was occasionally that like a hate crime that would happen.
I don't know. I don't remember hardly any. Just yeah, like you said, maybe a few. But
Yeah, there's a few. Like if
but it
you
was
look
never.
at
And usually it was more against the religious people.
I mean occasionally black people would have a hate crime.
Yeah.
But like
Well, the
I
difference is now everybody's got a camera and a recorder, so they can
yeah,
record everything now.
but yeah, I mean a lot of hate crimes are excused now. But they've went a different direction because there was uh a lot of hate crimes back in the day. You'd get one or two every 5 years that were particularly egregious, and now you have kind of like the opposite, what a lot of people call reverse racism, which is actually racism. You get stuff like the knockout game with Asian people.
Oh, where'd tactical chip go?
We lost someone.
I'm still here. I'm just hiding in the background.
uh but you have like the knockout game that pops up every now and then where they're like, "Oh yeah, let's go punch Chinese people in the back of the head," and they're like, "Oh no, that's not a hate crime. That's just that's reverse racism. It's different."
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I guess tonight's a slow night
It is.
on topics.
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of topics to talk about. It's just some people don't want to hear those topics.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty much done with my video game rants. If y'all want to rant about stuff,
I don't know what to rant about.
What about the exploding helicopter in New York?
Yeah, I could rant about that.
I
Go.
was kind of curious about that.
It seemed like it fell apart in sky and it fell into the Hudson. And they said, "Oh, it was completely predictable that that was going to happen."
I heard that I don't know, I saw some information that people thought that it was a tail strike that took it down. I don't know, I'd have to go look back through it again, but then there was some other evidence to show that it was a malfunction of some sort.
Sorry, I had a phone call.
How dare you leave us?
What was it? Malfunction?
The helicopter that crashed in the Hudson a few days ago.
Oh, yeah. Oh, well, that's different than what I thought it was. I thought it was somebody that was just like showboating. I know an Italian family died, and I assumed they were on tour or something.
Yeah, it was a tour helicopter that went down.
That's
I
what
thought,
Bujard wanted to be in GTA role playing.
yeah, I wanted to be a tour helicopter guy.
I wanted to be an old lady that did the Vinewood tours, and I'd just go throughout the place and possibly do some other stuff.
Yeah, we could make a tour company.
Yeah.
The helicopter crash itself is suspicious in a way
Mm-hmm.
because apparently the family that died was a family of a rich individual that owned
No.
some sort of rail company.
Hmm.
Oh, yeah, I don't know. I think that anybody that's taken a helicopter tour is probably rich.
Yeah.
But I was thinking that just from watching it, I thought the guy was showboating, and that he because he was flying erratically before he crashed, and then all of a sudden his tail got ripped off, and then he fell into the harbor. So I was just like, maybe he just pulled too hard one way. His tail went one way and he went another.
Says the father in yesterday's helicopter crash was the president and CEO of rail infrastructure at Siemens Mobility. His wife was the global commercialization manager of Siemens Energy.
Hmm.
Siemens is a massive transnational corporation.
So you're saying it's Iran?
Haha.
So we should bomb Iran? Is that what you're
Yes,
saying?
sir.
Huh.
Operation Ronald McDonald is go.
Yeah.
What?
Oh no.
So we should bomb Iraq? Is that what you're saying?
Well, one thing is Siemens allegedly signed a rail contract with Turkey promising to boycott Israel.
Oh,
And Mr. Netanyahu was in the country the same week that this happened.
uh,
It's very interesting. All these CEOs just dying in crazy ways.
yeah. I won't. My opinion still, unless somebody shows that there's tampering, I'm just kind of stuck on the fact that they were flying so erratically before the crash, before the tail actually snapped off, that I'm wondering if they were just if the pilot was showboating, but I don't know. I'd have to actually look into it.
One description of what may have happened was mast bumping, uh, which is it's The helicopter was a Bell Long Ranger with a semi-rigid rotor system. He pushed the cyclic down too fast, causing a low G condition and losing the ability to control the fuselage. No lift, plus the blades teeter more. The torque from the tail rotor caused the nose yaw, left rolling the nose to yaw left and to roll right. Instinctively put the cyclic in the opposite direction, causing the rotor to hit the mast, severing the rotor from the mast and killing them all.
Yeah, that's kind of what I think happened. That's just from watching the video. That's just, you know.
But there's also some conflicting information coming out from other sources that said that it may have been some sort of just like catastrophic rotor failure that had nothing to do with mast
Did you
bumping.
see the rotor still?
I saw the rotor fly off.
Yeah, it was in the air
Hello,
for like a good 7 seconds.
there's a video on YouTube where somebody goes over it, and it said that shows that the helicopter appeared to be pretty level, but then it starts spinning uncontrollably, and the tail and rotor severed like a second later.
I just kind of felt bad because there was kids on board.
That's true.
I need to, if I ever become like rich, remind me to never step foot in a helicopter.
Noted.
Oh, they're not that bad.
I'm gonna develop my own form of transportation. We need to be flying in like futuristic drop ships like Pelicans from Halo, not helicopters. Hmm.
I'm
What are we
curious
dropping
how
from
well the
Pelicans?
Where are we dropping, boys? Former U.S. military.
I'm curious of how often helicopters crash per
Are you looking it up?
I've been
like
looking.
per crash. Yeah, I'm looking.
I've been looking, and there are a lot of like helicopter pilots and stuff that are saying that they believe that this was like a sudden stoppage of the transmission, causing like a huge torque to the right, and the helicopter to fly out of control.
It says that it's almost double your chances to crash in a helicopter is double
Then what? Oh,
than a plane. Planes are way safer.
A lot of
are
people
they?
are saying it was something to do with a catastrophic
Yeah,
gearbox
it's
failure.
it says it's 12.69 accidents per 100,000 hours, versus 6.8 accidents per 100,000 hours with planes. So
Yeah.
it's double.
Ah, okay, they've got more footage now. The footage that I remember seeing over the past few days made it look like the helicopter pilot was like carrying out like loops. But this
Yeah, that's what
footage
I was
that just
watching.
came out
The-
shows I'm just looking at a piece of footage that's more recent that shows the helicopter, and the helicopter is flying perfectly straight in this video, and then it just hits like the helicopter is flying perfectly straight, and then like just in like not even a second, like a quarter of a second, the entire helicopter starts violently spinning to the left.
You should
Oh
share
yeah,
your
you're right.
screen.
Hold on, let me do that. Uh, Here, let me find the right window. Is it working?
No.
Here, is it working now? Can you see
Yeah.
this? Where this
Yep.
guy's going over? You can see it from the left side right here where my cursor is.
Yeah.
It's going straight, and then it's just like immediate, like violent, like spin. Yeah, so it's like a
Yeah.
catastrophic like rotor failure. The rotor even flew off.
Yeah, I saw the rotor fell off.
It
It
took it
flew for
it
a
was
little
flying
while.
straight, and there was like an immediate like, which is why people were saying they think it was the rotor gearbox, like some sort of catastrophic failure with the gearbox. Helicopters are dangerous.
They
You
can be.
know, um, my dad said that one time he was waiting for the helicopter to come on an all rig, and they had like a negative pressure area right before they landed, and the thing just fell out of the sky and went into the water. It was like there was an area in the all rig that he was working on where the like the I think it was the air temperature, like the air pressure and temperature was different. So whenever they hit that area, the the helicopter would just drop, and it, there was an inexperienced pilot that was coming in for a landing, and he hit that area, and it just went shoop into the water.
Mm, not enough air.
Yeah, air's too.
I don't exactly know how that works.
I don't either.
The closest comparison I could think of is that I've seen videos of helicopters going to land on aircraft carriers and other areas and stuff like that, and then the rotor wash will like pull up on one side of the helicopter, and it'll pull down on the other side, and it'll flip the helicopter.
Yeah,
And it's a lot more liable to happen with helicopters like the V-22 Osprey. The helicopter exploded. It was an assassination.
Oh no, assassination attempt.
An attempt, more like success. It is odd. It is odd that like that such a catastrophic failure for a helicopter would coincide with like this like super important CEO and his entire family being on board.
yeah. I mean, like I said, in my opinion, there's it's kind of obvious that the only people that would be in a helicopter, it's not like a homeless dude's going to take a helicopter ride.
Well, there are people that take
You'd have to
helicopter
be rich
tours
and
all the
famous.
time in New York. And they're not. You don't have to be
That
like
is
filthy
true, but it's
rich.
not. Yeah, but I imagine it's more often that you are filthy rich if you're taking a helicopter anywhere.
Well, usually, if you're filthy rich, you have your own helicopter.
That's probably true as well. Oh, I just found a new Kenshi mod that's awesome. It's a Tesla coil that you tap a rod to a Tesla coil, and it increases your damage resistance.
What?
That doesn't even make any sense.
There's-
I don't get it.
yeah, in order to increase your toughness, you have to purposely hurt yourself in Kenshi. And I just found a Kenshi mod that adds a Tesla coil, and you get a rod and you stick it to the Tesla coil, and it increases your toughness.
So basically, you're electrocuting yourself.
Yeah, to make yourself tougher. Prove how tough you are.
It's just like shooting yourself with smaller caliber bullets to build up a resistance.
Yeah, you get it.
Hmm.
It makes sense in its own way, right?
Looking at a news article, and Jared Fogle, the Subway guy, showed up, and I'm just thinking, like, how did this guy ever become like the mascot for Subway?
That's the guy who choked the dude out on the train, right?
No, Jared Fogle's the pedophile.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's
Oh,
a pedo.
oh, I don't know anything about him then.
He's the Subway guy. He's like, I've lost this much weight.
Oh, the Jared
Yeah,
from
Jared
Subway.
Fogle from Subway.
Oh, okay, okay, I got you now.
Looking at this picture of this guy, cyber company CEO arrested, suspected of committing serious sexual offenses against children. I'm just like, this guy looks exactly like Jared Fogle.
Oh,
Weird. They all look the same.
not all of them look the same.
No, of course not. But if some guy looks like
Didn't you
Jared
see that
Fogle, he
Hassan
might, just might be.
Piker? Didn't you see Hassan Piker got in like a controversy because he visited a brothel in Germany that got shut down for trafficking
Well, that
underage
shouldn't be a
girls?
surprise because one, it's a brothel in Germany, and two, Hassan Piker is Turkish.
Yeah. Well, yeah. You make solid points. Why does Germany have such like a weird history with that kind of stuff?
It's because it's because they expunged it during the Weimar period, and then it got reintroduced after a certain conflict.
Yeah.
Why do people in the Netherlands have an entire population of people who take like psychedelic mushrooms, but also like leave their children outside in strollers? I always thought it was interesting how like the Netherlands has like a culture of people doing drugs like everywhere, and then they also like leave their kids outside in strollers like on the side on the
Oh
corner of
yeah.
the street.
That's crazy. I that just seems insane to me, but I don't know.
Some people will
Everybody's
say
like, it's
like,
a
"Oh,
different
it's because
culture.
like everybody." They'll say it's like, "Oh, it's because like we don't have to worry about like violence or whatever." It's like, but don't they run like some of the most brothels that appeal to like some of the weirdest shit? I don't know. This seems like a great way for people to get human trafficked.
Yeah. Yeah, I was actually talking to somebody about this a few weeks ago. They were talking about, well, it's like why is America so iffy about brothels and stuff? Because a lot of the rest of the world, they're accepting of brothels. I'm like, oh, because it's crime we don't need. Yeah, if you everywhere that has brothels has a problem with human trafficking. Even Japan, which is like the safest of modern countries, they have a huge issue with girls getting exploited into um, the sex industry.
Yeah, but also, even though Japan is like one of the safest countries out there, when crimes are committed, it goes from 0 to 100 real fast.
Yeah, their murders are crazy. They have you can't just stab a person like a normal human being. You got to also throw in some kind of weird taboo or something weird. I think that Japan, I don't know. I don't like that they got a cannibal guy that comes on TV and he's famous for eating a dude or a lady or something.
What?
And there's a guy that was convicted of cannibalism. He like murdered uh I think he murdered a woman. Hold on. I'm going to look this up real quick. But he
But
comes on TV all the time.
yeah,
And he's just around in on television.
yeah,
Uh,
Japan doesn't have a law against cannibalism, really, like a specific law against cannibalism.
That's crazy.
I could tell you guys a crazy story I came across.
Go for it.
um, well, there was this guy who decided he didn't want his bits, you know. So he basically got everything done and he posted on social media saying, "Hey, since I have my bits, I'm going to cook it and I'm going to sell it. And whoever wants to come or buy, they could, you know, eat eat the bits."
Is bits referring to something specific?
his,
Are you talking about
his,
genitals?
his male genitalia.
Bruh, that made it worse. I was hoping like, I mean, I thought that's what it was, but I was thinking like, hopefully this is just like a hand or something.
No, no. He basically got his stuff all done, and a lot of people came out and watched him cook it in front of them, like hibachi style, probably. And yeah, I don't know if he ate it or had someone buy it from him, but it was weird. But he didn't go to jail.
oh, I hate this so much. I hate this. I shouldn't have. I shouldn't have looked this guy up. But yeah, this is
That
the
bad, huh?
dude. Yeah. Oh man, I like really really. Uh,
Who, the bits guy?
no, this guy.
Be warned, people.
Who's that?
Are you sharing my screen? All right, that's the
Yeah.
famous Japanese cannibal. He comes on television shows all the time, and he's just famous for eating a girl. That's the girl. The girl that he ate. That's her picture.
Was she dead
Uh,
before,
no,
or did he
he
kill?
killed and ate a student.
Oh, okay.
And he pops up on those Japanese game shows, and he'll like nibble on people, ladies' toes and stuff. He's the weirdest looking dude ever. Yeah, and I just like, I don't know. The fact that that guy's not dead,
Physiognomy wins again.
yeah. But just the fact that that guy's not, uh, that they didn't kill that guy with the death penalty. I mean, just look at his. That's him when during the
Look,
like
he's got
day during the.
asymmetric face.
but uh, but yeah,
Physiognomy
that
wins again. I've
that goes.
never seen a case where physiognomy was wrong.
But yeah, that guy is. He's that's all he's famous for. There he is on a TV show acting creepy because that's basically all he does is he goes on TV shows and acts creepy.
How exactly did this guy get away with killing and eating someone?
Because Japan sometimes they're just like, oh yeah, well, that it's like 10 years or 20 years or something, and then the, they have rare, um, they have very rare death penalty cases. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of the fact that it's kind of like how in what is it? Is it Brazil that the hitman of El Chapo or something goes around and he takes tours of what it was like to kill people? I don't like that either. I just wonder how these people can kind of fall through the cracks and profit off of their the
This is
gross
why
things they
Japan
did.
is cursed.
They're basically being rewarded for
Yeah,
their
exactly.
crime
I
because
mean,
people are crazy.
if it if anything, it does show that Japan is really safe because you'd think in a country that you did something so appalling, somebody'd ambush you with a hammer or something.
Well,
Yeah.
Johnny Somali was in Japan for a while, and at most, I think he got a slap on the head.
hmm
Well, I probably talked about it the past stream that we had, but since we're kind of talking about it, it kind of ties in about that live streamer who got murdered on camera. Like she was live streaming, and the
Yeah,
killer like basically used that video and killed her.
yeah. I don't know. American murder, most American murders. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah. It's uh, I kind of see where some of the guys are coming from in a way, or I understand it. Japanese murders just go crazy. It's always like the craziest people doing the most of weird stuff. Or most of the time, if there's somebody that gets murdered in America, it's like that. Have y'all ever seen the thing where it's like, "I'm gonna shoot you, Doreen"? That that
Whoops, sorry.
those are
that video.
those are murders of passion. Those are
Yeah,
crimes of passion. It's a little bit different from
but I mean that happens all the time in America. These crimes of passion. That's usually what the murders are. Every time there's a murder in Japan, it's always like, or maybe it's just the media perception. I mean, there are there are murders of passion in Japan, but they're also kind of weird as well. They're kind of crazy, like that lady that stabbed her boyfriend to death. That was like, I just loved him so much, I had to kill him.
bruh.
But it's like most of the
Bro.
time, whenever murders happen in America, I'm like, oh yeah, I get it. And it's like they stole all my stuff, and then so I shot him. I'm like, I can wrap my head around that, but
Yeah, that kind
Why can't
of
you wrap
also.
around?
Go ahead.
Why can't you wrap your head around a guy thinking like, they look tasty?
Because it just churns my stomach.
It's like,
I also can't.
can't
To
you
be fair,
understand taste? Mm.
I can't wrap my head around the submarine guy either.
That's
Like,
pretty crazy.
yeah, the
The submarine
create.
guy doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it's like spend years. Just spending years is like, oh yeah, one day I'm gonna complete this submarine and I'm gonna kill a lady inside of it. That's the whole reason I'm building this submarine for 10 years.
Yeah, there was speaking of um it was like this anime scene right here.
Oh no, not anime scenes.
Yeah, it was from an anime.
I don't see anything.
I don't either.
Well, this video that I'm going to show. I'm going to give credit to the person, because she's the one that reported on it. Her name's Aki Dearest, and she actually lives in Japan. I think she's from America, but she's lived in Japan for about 6 years. So, but she kind of reports on like these true crime kind of stuff. But speaking of like things of passion, she was saying this was a anime scene that killed people.
What?
Yeah, it's just these two guys, at a convenience store, you know, and this scene caused this guy. This was at the aftermath, but he basically went to that studio and set the studio on fire because he claimed that they stole they stole his idea.
Oh, so
and
he's probably schizo.
and so he said that he entered in like his manga. I forgot what it was. I forgot what studio it was, but he said that he entered in like a contest, that they have, and he said that they stole that scene from his manga he entered and stuff. So, and he burnt
Oh,
down the whole building and killed a lot of people. And I think
okay.
he got the death penalty.
I was reading about the guy, the dude that ate a lady in Japan. It's not Japan's fault. It's he was it's France's fault.
Huh.
France? Come
Yeah,
on.
he was in France and they deemed him um so he murdered and ate a lady and they deemed him insane. And then after they deemed him insane, the um he they deported him back to Japan. And then Japan couldn't sentence him apparently because he did it in France. And he was like
That's
he
silly.
had
They should have
already.
just retrialed him.
Yeah, that's what I think. But they couldn't. He was tried in France and he didn't do anything in Japan, and they deemed him not insane. And apparently, he they wanted some people wanted to retry him, but they didn't. Uh, but since it was in France, they couldn't do anything about it, and so that's why he's free and just roaming around.
Oh, so not
That's
only is he
crazy.
crazy, but he's manipulative too. That's awesome.
Yeah. Okay. So I didn't know that. I didn't know it was a. Yeah. I
Like
don't
he
know.
knows how to skirt past the law. That sucks.
Yeah, it happened in 1981, but
Still, people are bringing him on game shows and stuff like that.
yeah, I hate that. If I was France, I'd be like, well, it's time to send. some secret agents in to put something in his coffee.
Is he coming on Japanese? Is he coming on like Japanese game shows or what?
Yeah, it's Japanese game shows. He
Which
goes
those
on.
game shows are always weird.
Yeah, they are. I mean, but there's a real difference between blowing a cockroach into each other's mouth, which is weird, and then having a guy who killed and ate a lady, nibble on your toes. That's like next level
There's some real Hannibal
insane.
Lecter crap.
Yeah,
I hate that.
every time something like that like he pops up probably once every 2 or 3 years, and they're like, people are like, look at this creepy guy that's on this game show. He ate a lady. It just churns my stomach every time. But yeah, the burning. I vaguely remember that guy burning down the anime studio. It
Oh
was
yeah, that was crazy.
yeah, that was
I think it was
uh,
the studio that did like what's the anime called?
Let me see.
It starts with an N.
It's Kyoto Animation, I think.
yeah, that was really sad, and it was all just because they thought that they had stole stuff out of his manuscript, huh?
Mm-hmm. And come to find out, he didn't. There was no evidence. I think it was the same. It's the same uh, studio that did the Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya, K-On! And Clemad.
Hmm.
But yeah, let's see. How many people passed? Oh yeah. I'm going to share it. Doot, doot. He killed 36 people in that.
Yeah,
Wow.
he like chained the doors to the building,
Yeah,
and then
this.
he set the building on fire.
I always think that um, American fire laws are kind of overkill, but seeing stuff like this, maybe they're not.
Nah, I actually kind of watch a YouTuber who kind of goes into the like disasters that happen, especially like fire safety and everything like that. And yeah, there's a reason why we have those.
Yeah, I mean, I think that Japanese buildings are laid out more efficiently, but it definitely does. It does help whenever our buildings catch on fire that you have multiple, 2 or 3 exits to get out. So
Now that I think about it, well, that building that he attacked, it did have multiple exits. It had like 3 or 4 exits to the building. He chained all the doors.
okay, so it's just every exit.
Yeah, he like methodically went around the building and chained every door, and then like poured gasoline at each door entrance, and then set each one on fire.
Wow.
Although it's like I really should figure out what the building looked like, because I would have thought that at least one person would have gotten out through a window or something.
Chip just shared it.
Oh,
She
really?
was she shared it a second ago.
I
I
didn't
could probably
realize I
find
wasn't
it
looking
again.
at the screen at the moment.
Hold on. I'll share it again.
Some of those buildings, though, in Japan don't even have windows. I've seen a few
Yeah,
buildings that don't have windows.
I've seen animation. This had
That has windows.
it's all on the second floor though.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
I
would
would
have
have been
taken the
jumping.
risk. I'd be like, I'm getting out of here. I'm gonna
Yeah, I
break
would have.
my legs.
Yeah, I'd have rather had broken ankles than burned to death for sure. Oh, there's a few on the first floor, but yeah.
Yeah,
I
he's
mean,
one of the few that's been sentenced to death.
I will say that
Yeah.
those that buildings like that, like animation studios, I've seen tours of stuff like animation studios, and they do look like dungeons.
They're like stacked high with a lot of stuff too.
Yeah,
A lot of stuff that would burn. This reminds me about my building standard hobby project that I was working on. My new building standard. I was
gosh,
incorporating specialized fire safety procedures into this theoretical like new building standard I was creating.
you
One cool
did you
feature
draw it
is
out or?
I have a few things written down. I don't have it like drawn out super meticulously or anything, but one thing that I had incorporated into the design was that were to have structures were to have like all fire safety exits and lanes like marked out on the
Yeah.
floor and the ceiling and the wall with basically like a line, and whenever the lights would go out, that line would be drawn in like a the line would also be like coated in a glow in the dark paint in case of loss of power.
You know, Japan does that with some of their buildings. They have
Yeah,
like,
funny enough, Japan actually inspired me in some ways, so you'd think
yeah,
that they'd have more fire safety procedures like this.
but they have like, oh, for certain buildings for emergency exits, follow the red line. If you're trying to get here, go to the follow the green line. You know, that kind of thing. Um,
I found out in Japan and Korea, whenever they have like like half the time you'll be using GPS in like when you're on the highway in the states, and you'll miss your turn or you'll miss your exit. You'll be like, "Damn it." I found out that on the highways in Japan and Korea, they mark them down in like green or red lines for different lanes, so you just follow the line whenever you
oh,
want
that
to do your
makes
turn
sense.
off.
I've never seen that, but that does make sense to color code lanes.
Yeah, like once you just come up on the turn, you see the line, you'd be like, follow the line for this turn.
You know how expensive that would be to repaint that line every 6 months, though.
It'd be worth it.
No, in America we got to redo everything every 40 days.
I don't know. They seem to do it in South Korea,
Yeah,
from the video I saw, and they
South
don't seem like
Korea,
they have to repaint it.
yeah, but in South Korea they build a thing and it like lasts 3 years.
Yeah, we should do that.
No, we can't do that. Then people won't have jobs. If people make a road and then that's it, what are they going to do after they've made the road? They
We need
gotta
to come
have,
up with new jobs, like how Japan still has traffic cops.
yeah.
We need to bring back traffic police.
I do think that we need different kinds of police. I don't like how there's so many police that come in. Uh, I don't know. There's tons of shootings every year in America where cops will come up and they'll knock on a door in the middle of the night, and then somebody will open it with a gun, and the cop will shoot them.
Yeah, a particularly egregious example of that I hated was the police knocking on a guy's door and then like intentionally getting out of the way of the door like a peephole so that the guy is looking through the peephole and he can't see who's out there, so then he has to like open the door with his gun, and then the police like
Yeah,
shoot him on the spot
yeah.
just because he came to the door with a gun because he was worried about like being robbed.
I saw one where the guy was coming around a corner with a gun, and the cop was looking in the window, and they saw that the guy was inside his own house, and they saw he had a gun in his house, so they shot through the window. I was like, what the heck? He wasn't even outside.
The rule is that if the police show up, even if you're not aware of them and they see you have a gun, they can shoot you.
Yeah,
Even if you haven't committed a crime.
the government's allowed to shoot your dog.
Yep.
What?
That's a Ruby Ridge reference. The whole what kicked off Ruby Ridge is that the ATF got found out. The ATF snipers got found out by the guy's dog and his kid. They were hunting, and the dog found the ATF snipers and ran up on them, so they shot the dog. And then the kid, not knowing that they were ATF, engaged them because they shot his dog, and so they shot him. And then a siege happened. That was like the whole start of Ruby Ridge.
It's not just that. The ATF has like so many documented cases of coming into people's property and killing their dogs. It's like
Yeah,
they home in on them. Like the first thing, like the priority target is that they kill your dog.
yeah. I think that I don't know. I think ATF, in my opinion, is
There's a
more of
guy who
a
had a chihuahua and they came in and like shot this guy's chihuahua. He was
yeah.
like, "Why did you shoot my dog?" And they were like, "Sir, calm down."
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
I know we just killed your family pet, but that's no reason to raise your voice.
That's
I
right.
think I think
Who
the
cares about those
ATF.
mutts?
Yeah.
Hey.
I think the ATF is focused on punishing people whenever they come in. I really do think that that's part of the
I think they
ATF's.
hire like sycophants to be part of the ATF.
Yeah, that's true.
I think I'm gonna get off, guys. I have a few things to prepare for tomorrow.
Well, do you just want to wrap up the stream for the night? It's probably winding down right now, anyways.
Yeah, we could do that. All right. So who
Unless
wants to
there's,
close this out? Unless someone has something else to talk about.
yeah. Does anybody else have anything to say?
Can't think of anything.
Not really.
Like we said, this is kind of like a slow night on the talking.
Yeah, and
I had a
there's
little
nothing
more
wrong with
energy.
doing a short stream.
Yeah. Nuked was sleepy today.
I was very sleepy.
Yeah, me too. But
Yeah, I didn't
Well,
have. I like I said, I didn't have very much on the Nintendo front. The Nintendo thing is just like, well, I think fans have been getting screwed for a long time because there's no reason to play Mario Kart's already overpriced. $60 is already too much for a cutesy $30 game.
yeah,
yeah,
their stuff rarely goes on sale anyway.
Yeah,
Nintendo's kind of like sports games. They just resell the same product to you over and
yeah,
over again.
that's very true. I
I
mean,
mean, what's the new IP that they've come out with since
yeah,
Mario, Zelda, and what Donkey Kong and stuff? You know,
yeah.
they
I
just keep selling the same stuff over and over again.
I really do think that the Nintendo thing is like people are waking up. It's like, wait, Nintendo's trying to screw us. I'm like, nah, this is old news. They already have screwed you. Zelda's probably the only $60 game that's worth $60. Mario Kart and Super Smash Brothers, it's not worth $60.
Yeah, and they're bringing back that viable price thing or whatever, you know, because they did it in the 80s and 90s. That's the reason certain games was $80 back then, was because they was like, oh, we think this is you'll
Yeah,
play
I
this for a
mean,
long period of time,
I,
you know.
I'm not against that. I'm not at all against that kind of marketing. In my opinion, some games do need to be priced at like $80, but I just think that some games are going to go to an egregious amount because they already are. Like Sims being $1,000. There's no point for Sims to be in $1,000, like having $1,000 worth of DLC. That's dumb.
I think I knew a girl who had half of the Sims DLC.
Holy crap!
I know somebody that's got a good chunk of the Sims content.
Guilty.
I think a lot of the Sims is really a lady game.
It is.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of stopped after a certain pack. I was like, you know what? I don't wanna. I don't want to do it. So
Have you ever
I'm done.
Which,
seen?
granted, she wasn't buying them at full price.
No, I
She-
was looking for the deal.
they'd be on sale for like
Mhm.
$5 to get like 5 or 6 of the
Yeah. Well,
little
that's not.
packs, and it's like, okay, yeah, that go get that, you know.
Yeah.
Sims Halloween DLC.
Have you ever seen some women play Sims like on streams and stuff? Uh, it turns out that like whenever they play Sims, they turn into psychopaths.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
putting
that's normal.
furniture around the pool to make people drown.
No, I'm talking about worse than that. They'll have like little underground dungeons, and they'll be like, "This is the breeding center." And I'm like, what? Have
Yeah,
people in cages and stuff, and they'll be like, "I'm trying to genetically."
so I can't remember who I was watching. I don't know if it was a guy YouTuber or a female YouTuber. But anyway, so basically they were seeing how long they can have their child sim survive by themselves, like living by themselves with like bare minimum of everything. But they're like, well, they really can't have like the children can't be on a lot by themselves technically. So what she ended up doing, or he, I can't remember who, I think it was a guy, but anyway, he ended up building a basement underneath the house, and they had a caregiver with like all the necessities that they needed, and like bougie and all that stuff. And um, while the child's upstairs trying to survive on her own, passing out, everything. And it's like, this is just so terrible. This is child abuse. But
I tried to play Sims once, and I realized that I just made my house into a museum, and then I made my sim move into a cubicle in the basement where he didn't have like anything, but like I kept going on vacation and collecting artifacts and then displaying them, like going to China and stealing all their historical artifacts and then displaying.
I think I know what expansion pack you probably had because I had
Yeah,
that one too.
yeah, it was like Sims on vacation or something.
Yeah. Which I did. I feel like one of the underrated Sims game is Sims Medieval.
I
Because it
tried
was,
Sims Medieval. It wasn't bad. I think
yeah.
it was pretty decent, especially
Yeah.
for a Sims game. It had like more of a sense of adventure.
Yeah. I think there was like 3 types, or I know I could think of one other Sims game that kind of had that model where it's not like a typical Sims game. But it was like Sims Castaway and Sims Medieval, and they kind of had that same structure.
I've never played Castaway.
Castaway is fun because you can have your sim, like I think you can create like how many like you could probably do 1, or you could do 2, or how many people, but basically your sims get stranded on this island. Like there's a storm and they get stranded on the island, and your main sim like has to explore the jungle and the island, you could befriend chimpanzees that are on the island and stuff, and they kind of help you out and like explore and all. And then eventually you kind of bump into your Sims that were also on the boat and kind of reconnect with them. So
That sounds.
it was no,
Go ahead.
it was a pretty. I had that game on the PlayStation 2, but I'm sure you can have it on the computer as well. But when I played it, it seemed really fun.
That does seem like a little bit more interesting to me, at least, than the normal Sims setup.
Because it, like I said, the Castaway and Medieval kind of had similar, not really similar. It was definitely a Sims game that was, I would say, if there was a spin-off, it would probably be them because it didn't follow the typical Sims model. It's like they were trying to do something different. But yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a big Sims fan, but whenever I play The Sims, and if it's just the base game Sims, the only time, like, the way I play it, I think is wrong because I'm like, oh, you know, fuck my neighbors, fuck my coworkers, who cares? Build a big house, get lots of money, then die.
Oh,
the only one that was the only thing that kept me interested was going on vacation, and then it added an extra layer, which is rob other cultures of their artifacts and display them at my house for my neighbors to come in and be like, "Whoa, yeah."
I remember I had that. I was on vacation in China in The Sims, and everyone was like, looking outside, and I was like, what's going on? Because I think this is the first time I've ever seen the meteor event.
Oh yeah.
So basically, um, me and my Sims, they went on vacation and all that stuff, and her and her husband were like, "Oh, what is outside?" Da 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 da. And then all of a sudden, a meteor struck her husband and killed him. And I was like, "What the heck?"
That would have made me burst out laughing.
But that was like my first time seeing that event happening.
I stole an obelisk from Egypt. That's like big time.
That's like punishable by death.
Yeah, that was like I should have people protesting outside my house.
But anyway, I guess you guys want to end it here.
Sounds good to me.
All right. Well, thank you guys for watching. And if you like what you saw, you can hit the like button and leave us a comment because we really appreciate it. We do like interacting with people and stuff. But now I know we're just kind of starting out, but we do appreciate it, whatever views and everything. I just want to thank you guys, and I guess I'm Tactical Chipmunk with Dominion, Nuke, and T-Jard. So, but anyway, bye guys.
Bye.
Laters.
Dominion, say bye.
Toodles.
Bye, y'all.